Sweet. Got my notes here. What have you been up to today?
Not much. Just researching some stuff for this novel I'm writing. That's mainly what I've been doing. Other than this like secret band that I'm in, and then writing some like loss prevention, Dungeons and Dragons. That's something I've been doing like once every couple weeks.
I think, I don't remember who, but somebody else I was talking to recently told me that they like just finally got on like Dungeons and Dragons and have been doing that during the lockdowns.
Who was it?
I don't remember who I was talking to. If it comes to me, I will tell you. Is that something you were doing before, or is that new for you also?
It was definitely before the pandemic, or no, after the pandemic. Yeah, it's been like the past couple months. I'm a teeter-totter. I'm a halfling that used to be a dwarf. And after I got turned into a halfling, people thought my name that I changed it to, which is teeter-totter, they thought that was too much like a gnome's name, so I got exiled from that. I moved to this place called Ozium where I met my whole crew.
Amazing. No, this is great. I think you'll be the first to be smoking a cig on the podcast.
Hell yeah.
That doesn't happen when we're at my apartment, and a couple times it has just been blunts, but you know, I welcome it. It's a fun energy. I'm all about it. But yeah, I guess I'll get us rolling. My name is Aaron Rhodes, and you're listening to the Shuttlecock podcast. We're sponsored by the Vinyl Underground at 7th Heaven, offering new and used vinyl at 76 and Troost in Kansas City, Missouri. This week on the show, we have Ignatius Audley. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty swell.
Amazing. So, we've known each other, I think, I'm trying to guess, because
about
like
10 years.
Coming up on a decade, because I think we met either like 7th or 8th grade year of like late middle, early high school. Definitely like maybe right before high school.
Yeah, I definitely met you before high school because
when our friend groups kind of merged.
Yeah, I definitely witnessed that happen too. It was a big old merging.
Beautiful.
Good old refuge in Olathe.
Yes.
Good times.
Oh yeah, because wait, I forget? Did you? Because I know I was gonna mention it. You did play in Hat Trick, of course, with Bennett, and but you were you also in Against the Generation?
Nope.
No. Okay, that was just Bennett's thing.
I think Bennett wanted to get away from me somehow, get a little bit disattached, prove that he can do his own thing. Yeah, it doesn't matter, but yeah, it was what it was.
Yeah, you guys are still rocking together.
Yeah, every once in a while, I've been having trouble getting a hold of the dude, but you know, he's still like my best bud ever.
Yeah.
Forever.
So I guess to start with Hat Trick, I guess that was your first band in middle school. Like, even was that even like elementary school?
Hell, it was like an idea in like 4th grade, and then it really came to fruition in like 5th grade. Played our first show at the end of like 5th grade. We were like all 11, impressed the shit out of some people. They're playing rock music. It was really funny.
Yeah.
But then yeah, we did that for like 3 or 4 years and learned a lot. Got really good, and I can't say I got twice as good since the end of that band, honestly. Seriously.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys were the Shawnee Mission South area child rock stars.
Oh, dude, yeah. Being in the paper, just absolutely.
Were you in like the Shawnee Mission Post or something?
It was in the Casey Star. It was
Star.
Fucking weird. seeing myself on the front of that, like at 11 years old. Oh no, yeah.
Dude, the cloud will fuck you up, dude.
It's hard to just look down at all these peasants not being in the newspaper when they're 11 years old, you know?
Oh, yeah. But at that point, I think, because that band was very, like, you guys were all into, like, classic rock, I think, at that point, right? Kind of just, like, Led Zeppelin type shit.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah, because, so I'm guessing, like, all of your parents had a little bit to do with that.
The email threads, dude.
Yeah, what's that about?
Like, this and that, whoever's leader of the band. Hell, I probably shouldn't be disclosing this information. One of our parents is probably going to see this someday and be like, wow, they really knew the whole time. I saw a few of these arguments between parents. I hope they can all laugh about it now. But that was really funny.
Were they just kind of like micromanaging the band or something like that? Or
for sure.
Yeah.
And there's one time when we were trying to like kick this dude out. His mom comes downstairs to the basement. She's like, that doesn't happen yet. You can't do that. You're too young for that. There's like, none of us said shit. It was really funny.
And
he did end up getting kicked out, like, at the lunch table.
Ooh.
And yeah, weird.
That's where all the most contentious things seem to happen, either at lunch or recess, I'm sure.
For sure. Yeah, he didn't even sit at the table after that for a little while. The friendship dynamic kind of changed.
Fifth grade band drama, rough shit. But
dude, it was real.
So yeah, what were your like first favorite bands, and maybe even like because you've been playing drums since you were a kid. Like, who are all like your first like favorite drummers and everything like that?
God, my first favorite drummer was definitely Matt Sorum from Guns N' Roses. It wasn't the first drummer; it was the second drummer. The first drummer had a real, just ugly heroin problem. He wasn't very good at the drums in the first place, and then he got replaced. They called up the band The Cult, and they're like, "You have a really good drummer. He's just super traditional or whatever, and he'll play the same fill every measure, no matter the fuck what, but he'll make it sound good somehow." And he just pounded the drums, and he could play some really good fills for like 15 minutes. Impressive shit. 50,000 people.
And I'm guessing this is the guy who played on Appetite?
That was Steven Adler. Matt Sorum played on both the Use Your Illusion albums and Spaghetti Incident.
Okay.
And then after that, everyone bailed on Axl.
Yeah, who played on Chinese Democracy? I'm sure you know this.
Oh, man. Dude, there were like 4 or 5 drummers on that record because yeah, Axl was the pickiest guy in the world, but he kept all the recordings from these various drummers in that compilation of tracks and them making Chinese Democracy. They went through like a bunch of producers, a bunch of guitarists, like, you know, Buckethead and Kurt Bumblefoot or some shit.
But Slash
all these
plays on at least some of it, right?
Yeah, it's like weird how that went. Kind of took a lot of narcissism to just keep the name Guns N' Roses for that long. But, you know, they were still my favorite band. I loved Chinese Democracy. Still do.
I definitely remember at least like a few bangers off that one. I'm sure like there were whatever like singles came out ahead of it, or maybe like just the first few songs on the album. But there's that
for
one.
The time it took.
Yeah.
Like there was 14 years.
Shackler's Revenge, is that one of the songs?
Was. It's not a bad song either. It's definitely not my favorite.
Is that the one that's like don't.
And it starts like
what are the other bangers?
My mom would hear that and she'd be like, "What the fuck?" Like complete rejection of that vein of Guns N' Roses.
I might need to throw that on and get hyped for the Chiefs game tonight. That might be what I'm doing.
Oh, dude, it's gonna be great.
Some freaking some tailgate tunes, dude. That and
hey,
rock
dude,
and roll part 2.
Some good eats for then too.
Yeah. Have you been watching all the games this season?
Dude, yeah, it's been really fun.
It's been great
to see. Like, I mean, we're just kicking ass.
We are.
Last week was insane, beating Baltimore when like literally everyone thought we were gonna lose.
Yeah, and they looked bored doing it, which was very impressive.
It was really cool to watch. It made for a really good time.
And I think tonight would have been closer, I think, probably if Cam was in, but we'll have to see what that looks like. I know the Patriots are still like fairly solid. So
they have Cam Newton, right?
Well, no, Cam Newton has COVID.
Yeah, fuck.
Yeah, he's out for like 2 weeks.
Oh my god. So that's the Newton. Oh my god. I just saw Newton on the headline. What the fuck is that? When I see the name, when I see Cam Newton, it clears it up for me. A million Newtons, there's one Cam Newton.
Okay, no, and this is another thing that I'm pretty sure I didn't touch on this at all when I did the podcast with Bennett a couple years ago, but you guys both had kind of at least a short-lived like Warped Tour metalcore phase in like high school. Is that right?
Ooh. Oh yeah. Do you remember the name? Do you remember the name for that band?
You were playing in a metalcore band?
Oh yeah, we did for a little while. It was called As the Silence Surrounds Us.
Shit. Okay, that sounds familiar. I'm sure I saw that like on Facebook at some point. But did you guys ever play a show with that band or record anything?
No.
Yeah.
There was no group of people that would have thought we were like any good or anything, and we had like one song that we'd play over and over again, and my parents just found out that I was into heavy music.
Uh-huh.
And they're like, oh, this is a surprise. You scream. You make noise now. And I was like, y'all bought me a double bass, though. I don't know what you thought I was going to do with that. Oh, I was not terrible at it by that point.
Oh, maybe you can get in on the metalcore revival and get that bag this year.
Oh, Jesus Christ. It'd be so easy. They really actually had that. Oh, God. Wouldn't even do it. I want to incorporate double bass again someday, somehow. Probably wouldn't be able to apply it in a band that's forming anytime soon, but yeah, somewhere down the line. I'm just good at it, and it's really fun to play. Because I do a lot.
I'm pretty sure I remember you and Bennett maybe like trying to sell me on like I Set My Friends on Fire or Attack or something like that. Were those a couple of like the bands you guys were big into?
I was never personally into Attack. I could see a couple people we were friends with trying to promote that. Just trash the whole time, in my opinion. I Set My Friends on Fire. So even weirder, like a more weird band, and yet I liked them more.
It seemed like they might have, like, I don't know their music really at all, but it seemed like they were a little more creative than a lot of the bands they toured with.
Yeah, like, and I guess they were on Smosh videos, and I guess that kind of social context kind of grabbed me a little bit more. Like, I loved the Sex Education song. It was really funny. And, I don't know, they had some sort of style that they added up in the end. I mean, all right. I can't really say they were good.
No, it's funny. Sorry.
No, yeah, I'm done.
Yeah. No, I definitely like remember like within the last like week or two, I like remembered that Smosh existed for the first time in many years. And I can't say I watched a whole video when I like went to the channel, but I was like, oh yeah, I remember this era of YouTube kinda.
It's very commercialized now. It's
Yeah.
very weird what they've done to it. Anthony's gone. Anthony had to quit because he like saw that happening.
No,
Weird
yeah,
thing that should evolve.
no, yeah. The evolution of YouTube over the last decade has been a very strange, crazy thing to watch, and I guess it makes sense. Like after they got bought by Google, like you could kind of assume that it was going to go in a more commercial, strict direction, but just seeing
Like
the
with all those
specific
people getting
ways.
demonetized and stuff because of that, I could absolutely see why you would take a route where you'd make, I mean, just as much money as you were before, at least. You know, it's like that would be hard to get used to just making less money when you're totally set before. Absolutely understand. But kind of glad Anthony did the thing where he's just like, no, that's really weird. I don't buy that.
Do we know what he's up to at this point?
No idea. I didn't even bother to check it out, honestly. It's too bad.
Yeah.
I just know about Smosh.
Okay, because you mentioned one of a couple important Johnson County all ages institutions being the Refuge.
Oh yeah.
Because because I'm sure you caught like at least a few shows there if you weren't playing there. You didn't play any shows there, did you?
I played at the Refuge a few times.
With Hat-Trick or
the amusement?
The amusement. Okay, because I was gonna bring up the amusement. I definitely didn't see the amusement at the Refuge, but I did see the amusement. I think the one show I saw was at Yahweh Underground.
Oh yeah, that was like the first show where Stephanie was the singer.
Yes.
That was pretty cool. That was fun. Stephanie was the shit. Can't wait to see them again.
Yeah, very, very talented singer, bassist.
Straight up, good times. Yeah. Honestly, the most memorable from that band, which ended up lasting like too long, honestly. Like indie alt, being like a sophomore in high school, it just lost its luster, you know. You know how that goes.
Because you guys did release like one single. I think it was Enjoy.
Yeah, we didn't even release like an EP or a demo or anything, and we totally could have, but we were so hell bent on the quality of our first recordings of songs. That makes no sense.
That is where like a lot of young bands kind of get caught up. They like make the Facebook page right away, and then they like decide that they need like $1,000 recording and like all that kind of shit, and it's usually
merch.
Yeah, and yeah, like buying the T-shirt before the band has released any music. It's like
and the
give me the tunes first, and then work from there.
Yeah, god damn, just blow me. I can't take it. I just wouldn't be able to do it. Oh yeah.
And then
I'm glad those mistakes were made when I was like that young, not when I was trying to like put out like really cool shit.
Yeah, no, because then after that point, I think was the first band after that you did Killakee Cat, because that was like late high school, right?
It was like about right after or right before I graduated, because Bennett graduated in like April of 2015. And he came back with these recordings. He was like, I have this band Killakee Cat that I want to change into something like more hardcore punk and less like crotch rock. I was like, fuck yeah, that sounds cool. Would be down to play some hardcore shows, get involved with that, because there's like no other shows to play that interest me at all. And we started Killakee Cat. We started this math rock band, Pat Marsh, for the fuck of it. We were never planning on playing any shows with that. That would have been fun though. Didn't do anything with that other band though. Yeah, Killakee Cat only a few months later, we were like playing shows and establishing ourselves, living in the city finally, and trashing our first place. Very nice.
No, the Bong House, correct?
Oh yeah.
Because I'm trying to. What street was that on? Because I do end up driving by that every once in a while just to like as a shortcut to get like to Troost or whatever. But I'm trying to remember because it's like in the 30s. Is it on like?
It was like a 41st or 43rd in Gillum Road.
It was on Gillum.
You'd like head east right after you hit like 43rd or 41st.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's just this long building.
Yeah, it's just like a one-story, like 3 or 4 apartment building.
It's like a quadplex or something.
Yeah. That was
weird.
That was a funny time.
I thought it was torn down. The unit we used to live in looks hollowed out. It looks very blank on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad we did a number on it like that. Because Gene really sucked.
Gene,
God
bless him.
He did not own that property.
And because what was I gonna say? Man, I'm blanking. No, yeah, because so you were, as we discussed, you were interested in like classic rock and metal, and then like kind of indie rock, and then in like this metalcore and stuff. So what, like, because you did eventually join Killakee Cat and start doing all these bands with Bennett. What was the like? Do you remember like the first few like DIY punk shows you went to, and like when when it finally clicked for you? Because like I feel like me and like some other kind of people in the friend group got interested in it a little earlier than you did. So I was wondering like when it clicked for you.
Yeah, it straight just took me a little bit way too long. Honestly. I think it was just me and the 2 friends that I had that I was really tight with. They did not like it. And they did not like the lo-fi recordings at all. It sounds like phone recorded it or something. And like, look at me, I'm recording this on a phone. Sounds just fine. I record my practices on phones all the time. Doesn't mean I don't get the idea of what I just did on the recording.
Yep.
You know, that's really where people kind of miss the point. When you're listening to a demo, you're just trying to get the point of what's going on. And if it's not all there, that's their fault, of course. But if it's good, then shit, it shouldn't matter. Like, not everything's got to be some like a perfectly served up and piece of pie. And hardcore punk's definitely not some piece of pie. It's more like nails or a pie made out of nails or something with no bread, something like that.
Yeah. So was there like a certain band or a show you saw you think that like finally made you kind of come around, or like just at least an early favorite of when like kind of high school era catching DIY shows?
It was straight this one show at the art closet where this dude, he just started talking after this set. Now, I don't remember what they sounded like at fucking all. I can imagine they're pretty good. He said, I have no idea what punk is. Just come out and know that you're different than other people or something. Know that you're not the norm, and that's what makes punk or something. And there's something about what he said really stuck with me. There's a million other reasons I think that I should stick with it now, of course, but
yeah. So it was kind of
profound in those words.
The ethos and the kind of community, like political aspect of it that kind of drew you in initially.
God, I was really like, I talked politics even from like the beginning of knowing you and stuff, god damn, I was not in any way like a principled political person. And I did not know that like I knew that punk was like about anarchy and stuff, but I did not see that element at our shows until after Trump. That may be just me. Maybe there were radical leftists there before, but I don't know. It's my limited perspective on it because I was only in the thing a year before all that.
Yeah, you're saying you kind of felt like a coalescing and like a kind of like a real sense of community like post Trump.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It may have taken a second just because of the specific conditions of Kansas City at the time. You know, everyone that was playing the usual shows had left. You know, that weren't us, and like that, totally not their fault. Like, you know, if you want to move, absolutely, you totally did your time, put in the effort, did the literal everything, and we dropped the ball. But I mean, shit, didn't mean it didn't come back at least in a few months. And yes, with a vengeance too, with a political kind of angle. I noticed maybe it's just because I got into studying it, a lot more anarchists around. And that made me feel a lot more at home, especially after, decidedly not going to shows for a few months and kind of ditching for being in love jail and in college and stuff. But yeah, going back to that element of it was definitely a keeper and made it a keeper.
Yeah, because like I think there's definitely, if anything, there was like a noticeable uptick in like benefit shows and like fundraiser shows and stuff like post Trump, because like it is like I feel like, I mean, I'm sure like maybe in other like niches in Kansas City and stuff we're doing that kind of stuff like pre 2016, but like I don't know if I remember like going to like a no class or a dirty work show that was like a benefit show or something for anything other than like a tour kickoff or something like that, or a record release.
Yeah, word.
And that's not to like denigrate any bands of previous era, but there does seem to be
just
like
wasn't
more of a focus on that now.
There wasn't a sense of urgency, and I understand that. There wasn't crazy extravagant shit going on every day, just rocking literally everyone's boats and shit, and or at least it didn't seem like it.
No,
it probably was.
The Obama era was, I think, largely apolitical for a lot of people.
Yeah, it made people at least go on pause for a while.
Yeah,
as far as that stuff.
Yeah, because I follow like a decent number of people like on Twitter and Instagram and shit that like were going to shows in the aughts, in the like early 2000s and stuff, and they always kind of allude to the big thing then I think was kind of the anti-war, like Iraq and Afghanistan, like those wars and shit. Like that was like the big anarchist like kind of leftist cause at that point. And I don't know if there were like a ton of benefit shows or anything like that at that point, but that was kind of the political angle for a long time. And then even though we're still engaged in those conflicts, there's less anti-war focus right now. And it like in a sense, I think it's kind of like maybe a little reactionary just because of like how ugly Trump's mannerisms are. But yeah, there's like a refocus, I think, on political shit.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And there probably should have been the whole time.
Yeah.
You know. I hope they're the same way about Clinton. Because like they had the Gulf War with Clinton, or was that HW.
I'm not certain.
I guess either way, we still had some high-class hegemony going on as far as like neo-colonialism. Classic there.
So I think another thing I wanted to ask you was, once you're kind of like listening to like punk and hardcore records and stuff for a minute, and you're starting these bands, like you eventually end up in Columbine Kids, the Drippies, Narc Parade, and that's all like kind of the Compound era, that Compound with a K, that house that a bunch of you guys were living on 39th Street, which is definitely funny also to drive by, remembering that Gag played there and the basement was like packed with 100 people.
That was the most fucking insane show.
That was a good one.
The floor, you couldn't walk.
Yeah.
Much less slam. And people got away with slamming. The guy from Combat Knife, I don't know if you remember this, but he like just...
Yeah, no, I think he punched
out her light.
Yeah.
It was so badass.
I think that was like the one formal gig that happened at that house, but it was mostly like practice and recording for all of those bands.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And then so much for that, because no, actually it amounted to a lot because they fucking all finished. And then our landlord came and was like, never again. Or you're out. You're evicted. You're like, oh shit.
I did want to ask you what like some of your favorite like punk and hardcore drummers or like records as far as drumming wise are, since you kind of got into this scene.
It is very fucking narrow. Gotta say, Davey from literally like all the motherfucking KC bands, seems like, from like the early 2010s, mid 2010s, probably mid 2002. And then drummer for Gauze, straight up, just that's my path. Can't say it's too open for development, but I've learned a lot literally just from both of them.
No, and they both have they both have like a big kind of D-beat bent. And it's funny because like you've played in like all these different DIY punk bands, but none of them have really hit D-beat. Is that your dream at this point? Does that need to happen soon?
It is what is happening right now.
The secret band you mentioned, is that right? Yeah.
Yep. Very, very much that. Ending all my fills on the threes as much as possible. Can't guarantee it every time. Wait. Okay, it's only in a few of the songs where I end on my fills on the three. But you know what? Maybe it's not my style. Nah, it's been really fun. It's been a learning process, even though it's like it's supposed to be the easiest thing. Maybe the first thing that you learn if you're a punk drummer, just starting out on drums. But it's sounding pretty fucking good. I can't wait to show everyone. Seriously. I can finally calm down. You know, like that.
How far along are things with that band?
We have enough for what should be a full length, but it's gonna be a demo and a 7-inch, and we still got a couple songs to write, but yeah, we got like 9 so far. Nice. And then we got a couple with Loss Prevention, where it's like I'm actually doing D-beat in a couple of songs where it's like the classic guitar strumming where it's like, but we land on the one same time, same stroke and everything. So maybe it's cheating, maybe it's not. It's punk.
Hey, there's no rules, baby.
People liked it last time when I was just I was cheating on some of those tracks in Shoot to Kill. Gotta say,
how'd you
probably
cheat?
hear it here and there, but And you go like, but it's like you just hit the snare on the same 1 and 2 or whatever, and it doesn't really show like it should or like it would with other people.
Mm.
Yeah, just a little Easter egg with that.
Yeah, go back and re-listen to the loss prevention 7-inch, everyone, and see all the cheating.
Oh yeah.
No, I did want to talk loss prevention briefly, but briefly going back to, because I don't know, I saw the well, when Bennett would post them all to Bandcamp, they were on this page called K Crew, KCREW, like all the Killakee, Columbine, Narc Parade, Drippies stuff would go on that page. And with Killakee Cat ending last year, because that band's pretty much over, right?
Oh yeah, it's over.
Yeah.
It's done.
So like, did you feel a certain way last year, like seeing like the last of those bands kind of come to a close? Because I feel like that was kind of its own distinct era in Kansas City DIY, like kind of transitioning from like all of the people that moved away and were doing bands before us into what it is at this point.
I was straight up not sad, that's for sure. This is such a clean break. I needed something else in my life that was new, because I didn't really see any sort of potential for continuing. Like, I don't know where Killakee Cat would have gone. It would have just been influenced from a different DeCroydson album, I think. But that could just be my thoughts on it. Either way.
Yeah, you got.
I think I was just ready to do something new, more hardcore. Like, also, let's get the fuck on a label. Let's get put out by someone. Let's even possibly do a tour with a different band. It was kind of like, I was kind of afraid to start over and be like, have everyone be like, who the fuck's this band? It's a new band from Kansas City. Oh, it's like all the same people. Fuck. They should just stick with something. And once they stick with the band, they should actually tour with them. You know, it's a learning process. It'll someday we'll tour one of these days.
No, yeah, because I was gonna mention like the loss prevention demo was well received, and I think kind of it's funny. It's kind of thanks a little, at least in part, to the kind of YouTube community of like just there's that handful of YouTube channels that every like DIY punk fan is subscribed to and kind of can find new shit through, which we can debate the pros and cons of that kind of ecosystem, but I think I feel like I've touched on that on another episode, so I won't go into it. But yeah, the loss prevention,
it's beautiful.
Yeah,
I love that they have that stuff like ready to go. Like the fact that I'm on something that has 15,000 views, pretty cool. Like, wouldn't have had it otherwise. Like, straight up. 11 p.m., lots of power, but I mean, No Deal has been a huge vehicle for that record company too. Gotta give it to them.
And do you feel any way about like the kind of, I don't want to say impermanence of like the YouTube ecosystem, but like it's not so much focused. I feel like since YouTube became such a thing in punk and hardcore, that like the download has become less prevalent. Like, yeah, like there's always a link to the Bandcamp or whatever, but I feel like there's less music being downloaded than just stuff being played off YouTube. And I feel like just maybe it's because I'm like kind of a journalist archivist type that I worry about those things, but do you think about any of that at all?
It's definitely like dangerous on the sense where it's like you're just gonna make less money, even though it's like you're making shit money to begin with, is like a local artist and stuff. But God, making money off of music was such a long shot anyway.
Yeah.
So I don't ever feel too much about it. I'm just straight glad that I can just be put on wax and like show people, look at this, and then open it and be like, look, it's actually on a thing.
Yeah,
not a
because
tape.
yeah, okay, because that makes sense because yeah, like seeing the YouTube community as more of a launching off point to like getting your shit put on vinyl kind of makes sense because yeah, the Loss Prevention 7-inch is the first vinyl record you've played on, right?
Yeah.
No, it's exciting.
Drippies totally should have been the first. Talk about a while. A long time coming, really. But, once again, shit's different for everyone. Yeah. It was a first. Good first, too.
Oh, yeah. It's a ripper.
Yeah. Mostly I've just been working on this book. That has been taking up most of my free time, despite having a bunch of new material for this secret band. And not fiction, or it's not nonfiction this time. It's not completely boring. And it's like a dystopian novel.
Sick. No, yeah, because I was gonna kind of introduce this by, because like a year or two ago, you were doing YouTube videos. You had the channel E-Bombs World.
Oh, yeah.
And you were kind of doing like leftist history and kind of just political like commentary and stuff like that. So it's funny, like I definitely remember like talking like politics and stuff like that with you, like at least briefly, like in high school and everything. But I'm curious where you like at what point you decided you wanted to play some part in like making videos and writing and stuff like that. Like what made it feel important to you to do that?
Well, after the election, I straight up was just like, motherfucker, I'm gonna read Karl Marx, and there ain't nothing anyone can do about it. Straight up, it was like that. And I was at an impasse on politics, and I figured I need like some new avenue because apparently believing this stuff ain't working. Something about it drew me to it. And then a couple of the people from the punk scene were just like, no, don't get into communism, into anarcho-communism. And so I was like an anarchist for a while. Ended up not being, like a year later, turned into like really just an undecided like Marxist guy, like really into Karl Marx, the dialectic and materialism and all that sort of like motive analysis. And that really drove me like the whole time after that, a long road of like 4 years, getting to this new guy, just getting so much more into philosophy than anything else. And then having what I get from philosophy dictate my politics and not have some sort of dictating part of my philosophy is the thing. All the while having that dictate my politics. So yeah, I used to have the dialectic and materialism and Karl Marx, like create this kind of circular mode of logic. Now I don't have an ontology or anything like that anymore. Like my idea of being or becoming is not gonna be like dictatorial. How I think this box of cigarettes really is, actually, in its relation to other things. And yeah, that's how flat and horizontal the world really is, I guess if you really want to be an asshole about it, one thing ain't more significant than the other, because quantifying descriptive things is just a little weird. It can be totally sterile a lot of the time. Definitely, numbers are good for explaining like phenomena and sizes. But I don't even know what I'm really getting at. I've just gotten to this really motherfucking heady philosophy that is like post-structuralist and post-humanist and post-Marxist, really? I guess you could say that.
Mm.
Still revolutionary in the sense that the philosophy itself seeks to change the world, whereas Marx said philosophy is only sought to interpret the world. Well, now there's one that changes the world, and it is it started with Gilles Deleuze from France. Super cool guy, and that's where I started my new podcast called Word of the Duration, and it's just conjugation of words he created. He added to philosophy's like critiquing ability and decided to throw in what he called like another half or just another facet where others might be added. He decided to add the creative aspect. And he's like, yeah, for like 500 years, y'all have just been critiquing yourselves and not like creating any of these new words like you used to, like the cogito and stuff. And like, I think therefore I am and all that concepts, like make them. And so I'm just going to do that now. Here is a literal new version of the dialectic I call the rhizome. I'm still a materialist. Oh, and here's this whole new vein of psychiatry. Super sick. Can't get over it. Wrote a book based on it. Super fun.
Yeah. So what happened? Like, are you doing this podcast like weekly or just like whenever? Like, what happens on those episodes?
Well, the thing is, Gilles Deleuze's influence, his influence for his concept of time, said, throw away literally all your fucking clocks. Stop abiding by all this shit, because time is more so an unfolding of new descriptors and signifiers and stuff, and not this like counting minutes, seconds. And fuck, where am I getting with that? Oh yeah, so I can be totally lazy about this podcast.
Yeah, no,
basically.
That's great. No, yeah, and that book project was different than the one you mentioned you're working on right now?
Nope, completely the same.
Okay.
I'm trying to create what they called a minor literature, which has like a revolutionary kind of angle to it, in the sense that it's new in its own genre, has a language that resembles the culture, something that the culture could grab onto easily. Like, you use words like, hey, Chad face, or like, hey, fucking, I don't know, using words where it's like, I don't know, it's like, swerve on out of here. I have never heard a single person say that, and it would sound super dorky if someone said it. Everyone would know what you mean, the thing, because you're using these signifiers that, did not used to mean anything a couple years ago. And for some reason, that's super important to him, and it's super fucking fun. There's like a third part of minor literature or something. Oh yeah, it's like a revolutionary aspect, using new terms, get a feel for the social context, and I apply the idea of the control society to it instead of the classic dystopian discipline society where it's like just a police state, a surveillance state. Whereas like this is more of a state that modulates you instead of molds you like explicitly. A lot of subtle aspects to it, lots of new technology that supposedly gives you a bunch of freedom. They can totally use propaganda from that to act like they're giving you freedom when they're actually also handing you a shitload of surveillance. It's new and they really don't want you to notice it. The fact that we now know that our phones track everywhere is something we didn't find out for a while. And that's an aspect of the control society that he was talking about like 40 years ago. Mm. For some reason, someone hasn't written a fucking novel about it yet, so I am hopping on that shit so hard. Trying really hard to make it a good book.
I'm constantly freaked out by the Amazon Alexa shit whenever I see it referred to.
Absolutely. So am I. Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's just a fucking cool gadget too. It's not like it really gives you that much,
Yeah,
but
no,
you
and
sacrifice a shitload.
yeah, and it's kind of just like they're telling you you're like corporations and everyone tells you that you're getting all these freedoms and stuff, and really it's just like a slight, like a minor shortcut for what you were doing before, or just
Dude,
more
yeah, it's the
consumer
next
choices.
trick. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Instead of one kind of news media, you have two, but it's in the form of like five. And I don't understand how people like really look at that stuff and is like liberal media, the one conservative media channel. And I don't know, blows me away. I seriously think people have had their desires completely morphed to the point where they just desire their own oppression or repression, but that's just me, I guess. I seriously prefer not to be oppressed and just do what I would like to do. But no, people really like to be confined for some reason.
wake up, sheeple. You're watching this. You're listening to this. Y'all need to fucking.
Hello.
Is your government mind control machine on? Or hey hey Siri.
Put your glasses on.
Amazing.
No, but yeah, I absolutely don't blame fucking anybody for this shit. Like, capitalism has done so much more than even so many Marxists have thought to completely brainwash us. And that started with industrialization. And out of industrialization came the consolidation of our social life into the nuclear family. And when you're growing up in the nuclear family, your parents' like angst and fear rubs off on you during like certain developmental parts in your life. And then it literally Oedipalizes you in the sense where, or it could and has historically. And yeah, I guess what I'm getting at, there's a reason why Freud saw all of these kids literally just abiding by the Oedipal complex. It's just there was always a group of kids that would never do that. And you see that in a lot of like autistic kids and people that turn out to have schizophrenia. And so it was a huge hole in psychiatry that needed to be figured out. And the thing is, it's just, yeah, the social relations, the socioeconomic relations really formed this whole complex that can be broken down once you look at the perspectives of people that may not have the best perspective on things, but it is a new one nonetheless. Not making any blanket statements about autism or schizophrenia, but there is a weird kind of common symptoms where it's like, yeah, they will not conform to that kind of what do you call it? Object of desire or theory of desire. And so that has to be affirmed and accounted for, and thus a new psychotherapy must be produced. And you walk away with it also saying that capitalism is much deeper of a fuck up than we thought. And where revolutions used to happen, it didn't happen because of that edibilization of a shitload of our population and got us in a mode of thinking that actually did switch our desires around to desire, well, just being taken away from as far as like surplus value, as far as not going for what you want. Because, I mean, the Oedipal complex says you want to like bang your family, but then you can't ever do that. That's your one desire, but you're not supposed to go for that desire. Henceforth, you're never supposed to do what you want. And that's just how it is. That's human nature. It's really not. There's no framework for humans. And that's why I'm a post-humanist, post-structuralist, all that shit. And that's why I prefer a theory of desire that is not towards a lack, but towards really production, not in like the sense where it's just like I'm making this at work, but in the sense that literally every motion and phenomena is production. And that's like super deep and fucking heady. But when you look at it from when you look at it from a perspective of production instead of a lack, it goes from being an idealist kind of like framework for psychotherapy into a materialist one, which is one that makes philosophical sense. Yeah, this, once again, all the credit goes to these guys from like 50 years ago that went against all odds in the psychological community. Joe Deleuze wasn't even a freaking psychiatrist. His partner, Felix Guattari, was, and they just decided that they were on some similar shit someday, and had people like Michel Foucault, just king of French philosophy at the time, being like, this is absolutely insane. Finding out that, well, there's just a lot more stuff going on than we thought. And I mean, people thought Michel Foucault had it in the bag. As far as an analysis of capitalism, they didn't think you could go as deep as Marx. But he really went beyond it. It is very impressive. It's just something I'm obsessed with lately. So the story I have is basically just depicting the U.S. the best I can with these like 3 characters. The narrator's an AI robot that was programmed for CIA to monitor this kid Goliath. And he literally just views him from this top-down perspective, or, you know, kind of behind him too, I would imagine. And he takes the whole world from like an anthropological ATIC perspective, where it's like, let's say I like went to Afghanistan and tried to just live there and understand the culture. He has like no fucking idea what goes on planet Earth. And so he walks away from like really obvious things, being like, oh, Goliath's mom is dead. And his dad has like heart problem. And they have this place called a kitchen. Oh, the dad drinks out of this like bottle with brown liquid. You can like see through it. And he like smashes this glass on the floor every night. Gets really mad after he drinks it. And there's this thing they watch called E-News every day. They leave it on at night because their mom used to watch it before she died. And yeah, it's kind of just some like, he's a robot. But he actually ends up being super useful to Goliath in the sense that he kind of keeps being the narrator, but also becomes the protagonist at some point. I'm going to figure that one out. I think he might just have some sort of telepathy kind of interface that he programs himself, because the CIA accidentally programmed him a little bit too much. And he's just like conscious out of nowhere, feels stuff. He can really only see this one guy. I'm thinking, yeah, I know the end. I can't give it away before I just like finish the whole story. Yeah, but basically, gives them a lot of ideas for like action and stuff. The minor literature thing is one where he's like able to really show the contradictions of capitalism, Oedipus and stuff like that, how day-to-day life is, a lot of parts of it are actually completely unbearable, but we deal with it all the time. And we actually give our organs away for capitalism all the time and stuff like this, because we see desire as a lack. We want this stuff. I like cigarettes. Sorry. It just ended up that way. And, you know, now addicted to them. But for me, I wanted a cigarette because I lacked this feeling that I really wanted when it was just a Band-Aid. It's not going to make me feel any better. And it really only helps the guy that's running the business, that is Marlboro. Not really me. It's maybe made me look cooler twice. Couldn't tell you which time.
It does look cool. I will admit that.
I mean, on the Shuttlecock podcast, I'm glad it's a first.
Yes.
I'm glad I could be the first.
Should any publishers listening to this reach out to you? Do you what's it like on that front? Do you think you're gonna like self-publish or?
Last time I tried publishing a book, I hit up Zero Books, who's a critical theory, so like totally my vein of book writing, publishing. And I think the thing is they only publish nonfiction. I hit them up anyway the other day. I was like, I know you only take unfinished manuscripts. I know you only take finished manuscripts, sorry. And that I know you only take nonfiction. We should look at this because you're releasing all of these Jill Deleuze books right now. And I think you'd be the only publisher that's interested in it. So here's literally just this slop. It is my first draft. It's like 30 pages or something. It's not even fucking close to done. I have so much dialogue to do. I have some very graphic scenes that display these people's alienation, all lined up and everything. All this very good dialogue and series of events. Complete humiliation. Complete just discarding of identity for the sake of money. Like, literally, people in this book become not recognizable because they want money so bad just to live. And yeah, they're willing to give up almost every part of themselves. But the thing is, Goliath, at some point in the book, decides, like, that is absolutely ridiculous that people are doing that. And he's not going to submit to, the demands that are everyday life. That come with everyday life.
Do you read a lot of sci-fi? Because it sounds like it has like some sci-fi elements going on for sure.
It's supposed to be almost completely on par with our technological state of things.
Okay.
Yeah, because the only thing that would be sci-fi would be the AI.
Mm.
Yeah. And that would just be for the perspective's sake, I guess.
Oh.
Or just be like tabula rasa, blank slate. Maybe you can get something from this if it's just building all of this information from the start. You're reading it as an adult, and you're not actually just some kid. The robot's doing it for you, so yeah.
Word.
But the robot also has this crazy processing power where access to every information, which includes the cool philosophy I'm into. What do you know? And he teaches the good word.
Oh yeah. Well, I think that's all I wanted to get to. So people should definitely order the Loss Prevention Shoot to Kill 7-inch from 11 PM Records. Wonderful label. We love them. They're on Bandcamp, or they can hit up members of the band maybe.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
913-904-8774. Call me.
Amazing.
I have no idea if I have physical copies. Still call me though. I don't care.
Yeah, you just feel like chatting with, just see what's up.
Oh yeah. Whoever the hell.
Amazing. Where can people find your podcasts and anything else you want to plug?
I gotta say, I did a pretty good job of that podcast. E-Bombs World Revolution. It's on YouTube. My profile picture. Probably can't see it. It's so small. But me and my two friends, Tommy and Jude, very naked in the picture. Probably can't see anything worth saying.
Yeah. No, and to be clear, it is EBOMBS, E-Bombs World Revolution.
Yeah. And then my Instagram is what the hell is my Instagram? Oh yeah, it's Big Mac for Sex right now. And my podcast on that is Word of the Duration. I only have 2 videos on that. You know, it's coming sooner or later.
You have
a duration.
They're like IGTV videos.
Yeah.
Word. But yeah, people can follow at Shuttlecock Mag on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. The website is shuttlecockmusic.com. The web store is shuttlecockmag.bigcartel.com. We have t-shirts, photo zines, buttons. Trying to think if there's anything else. I don't think there is. But thank you for being on the show today. This was fun. And I appreciate you being down last minute.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Long time coming.
Straight up.
Or
have a good one, Aaron.
You too.
Wait, do you hang up first?
I'm going to stop the recording and then